Hey guys, what's up? It's Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews. I'm here with the Vinegar Syndrome Halfway to Black Friday sale haul, as well as just a couple other little minor things that I've purchased. Um, so I'll start with the Vinegar Syndrome order. I didn't order too much just because, things are a little tight on money, but some stuff was cheap and I figured, why the hell not? I'm going to start with the DVD titles, get them out of the way. I picked up this is an older release from Vinegar Syndrome, from way back in the day. It is Dracula Sucks, which is, I think, like a Dracula vampire kind of like sexploitation porno, like softcore film. There's also an alternate cut called Lust at First Bite, which I'm sure is probably probably more hardcore oriented. But it's a 2-disc release, One of their older releases, I think this is from like the early like 2010s. Mainly grabbed this one because this one was super cheap. This was like, I think this was like 6 or 7. I think it was like 7, anywhere from $7 to $10, which is not bad at all for a Vinegar Syndrome release. Speaking of Dracula, I'm looking forward to the Severin sale because they've got Blood for Dracula being released for that sale. And Vinegar Syndrome just announced, because they kind of had to, that they're restoring the 3D version of Flesh for Frankenstein, which is absolutely amazing. I love that. I'm really excited for that release, and I'm really excited for Blood for Dracula because that movie's unironically actually pretty good. The other DVD release I got from Vinegar is this triple feature of the films of Walt Davis. It's Evil Come Evil Go, Oh You Beautiful Doll, and Widow Blue. Mainly got this, again, because it was cheap, and it has Evil Come Evil Go on it, which I've never seen before, but from what I've heard, again, sexploitation-y type title, sort of a sexploitation themed horror, like horror themed sexploitation title. And I've always kind of wanted to check it out because the title just sounds kind of dumb, and that's kind of, I love dumb, weird, bad exploitation cinema, so I'm completely for something like this. But I have not watched this yet. Just got it. In fact, pretty much my entire Vinegar Syndrome order is all blind buys, which is very weird because usually I go with the stuff I'm familiar with and then do blind buys with the like super dirt cheap stuff like this. I usually don't do blind buys with their Blu-rays, but some of these I just felt like I had to grab. This next one is one of their partner label releases. It is the release from AGFA in collaboration with Something Weird, is The Curious Dr. Hump. Again, I don't know a lot about this movie. I know it exists. I know that Rob Zombie sampled it for the song Never Gonna Stop Me. Never Gonna Stop. And that's about it. Apparently this is like an film from Argentina, that was like a weird kind of sexual horror film, and then when it was released in the States, they dubbed it and added in more sex. And this has both versions, which this is the first time that the original horror cut is available. But I'm mainly, and I'll probably watch that version eventually, but I'm mainly interested in the American version because, if this is like the effect, like if this face is the effect they're going with for like the monster of the film, that's got to be something special because that's like a rubber mask. That's not even makeup, I don't think. I can't tell from looking at it. But yeah, black and white kind of horror title from the late 60s, shot in 67. Apparently Frank Henenlotter is a very big fan of this one. I think he actually did he did a commentary track for this release. Frank Henenlotter has very interesting tastes. He also really likes Andy Milligan, which kind of isn't surprising, honestly. But yeah, The Curious Dr. Hump. You know, I like this slipcover. It's very basic, very nice, very minimalist. Um, I like it, and this is the only slipcover release I bought. Usually, I go for the slipcover releases if they're cheap. Next, I got Don't Panic. This is a Mexican horror film from the late 80s, 87, I think. Don't really know much about this one. I've heard it's like a mix of like Halloween and specifically Nightmare on Elm Street, as well as a little bit of like the supernatural serial killer elements of Uwe Lommel's Boogeyman, which that's actually a really underrated 80s slasher flick. But don't know much about this one. Haven't seen it. The only thing I know is that the director did another film that also got released by Vinegar Syndrome on Blu-ray, and I actually have that one on Blu-ray with the slipcover. And that movie was Grave Robbers, which I watched, and it's basically just a Mexican Friday the 13th. Like, it's very much an American style slasher flick, and I'm really, really into that. I was really into that one. Very violent, just fun, like, really underrated slasher. I'd never heard of it before, and then I watch it, and I'm like, okay, this is actually, like, one of the more memorable 80s slashers, especially when it comes to non-American 80s slasher films. So this is from the same director, whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce, because, actually, you know what, I'm going to try. Ruben Galindo Jr. I hope that that's the correct pronunciation. But from the looks of it, Vinegar Syndrome is releasing like a lot of his horror-oriented work, which is cool. But yeah, apparently this movie is like weird, violent, kind of creepy, atmospheric. I'm completely up for it. I also quite like the reversible cover art, which is the like original poster artwork, which I will pull out just to show you. I kind of like that, but I like the new artwork a bit more. It's a bit more sleek. And I feel like if I'm gonna, go with the new artwork on one of these films, not that they're gonna all be sitting next to each other on my shelf, but like I feel like if I want to go with the reversible cover art, or the original cover art for one of them, I want to do it for all of them, because their cover arts are very, very similar style. Like, I'm pretty sure, more than certain, they're done by the same artist. They're all done by the same artist. And I'd want to, show my appreciation to that art. The other title from the same director that I got is Cemetery of Terror, which, this one I was really, really interested in, because I've heard this one is, like, a really weird, gory kind of zombie title. Basically, from what I've heard about this movie, it's about a bunch of teenagers who, as a prank on Halloween, steal a corpse from the local morgue, and it turns out to be the corpse of a Satan-worshipping serial killer, and hijinks ensue. Don't know much about this one, haven't seen it yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out after Grave Robbers. I've heard mixed things about Don't Panic and Cemetery of Terror. Grave Robbers, after finding out about it, I see that people seem to like that one more. So I'm hoping that these will be as good. And the last one I got, which this was available in the slipcover version, but I kind of don't like this movie, or at least when I first saw it, I didn't like it. So I didn't want to bite the bullet and pay the extra few bucks for the slipcover, so I just got it without it, because I figured, fuck it. It's the release of Whodunit, or as I knew it when I watched it, Island of Blood, which I like this artwork more. I like the vibrant pink. I love that. It stands out. The other artwork that actually says Whodunit is also good, don't get me wrong. It's good artwork, but I kind of like the hot pink going on in here, with the VHS cover art. But yeah, this movie has never been officially released on disc before. It's a basically a murder mystery kind of slasher film from the 80s. About a bunch of people going to an island, and then there's this killer picking them off one by one, based on the Agatha Christie novel, And Then There Were None, which is basically the basis for the slasher genre almost. Um, and yeah, people go to an island, they're picked off by an unseen killer. And there's also a really like crazy, stupid, just absolutely moronic twist at the end of this that I kind of like. But when I saw this, the version I saw, which was the only version that was available until this Blu-ray and this restoration, was this muddy, super dark, fucked up VHS scan, or VHS transfer, which is just like almost unwatchable. You can't really tell what's going on. And when I watched it, I was really fucking bored for most of it. So I bought the Blu-ray of it because it was on sale, and I figured, why not? Maybe this new restoration will do it some justice, and I'll be able to appreciate this one now that it's, restored. But that is literally it for the Vinegar Syndrome sale stuff. Literally, this is all I bought, which, if you've seen any of my previous hauls from Vinegar Syndrome and Severin sales, you'll know that I tend to buy a decent amount of stuff, but this is like, I think like around $80 worth of stuff. Usually I go for like 150 to 200, but money is things are a little tiny bit rough right now. So I tried not to spend too much. I also got some other stuff here, as well as a couple of t-shirts, which I have to grab here real quick. The t-shirts I got, the one I'm wearing is one of them, which this is a MF Doom design, with basically all of his personas on it, which I really like. The colors, I really like that it's, all the personas with King Ghidorah, Mad Villain, all that. The other shirts I got is this one, which is a bit of a joke shirt, but I'm going to wear it unironically. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed because when I saw the image was a lot more clear, and it looked like something that if I put it on a black shirt, I'm actually pretty sure it was even recommended to go on a black shirt. It wouldn't, look dark, but it kind of does. I think it looks better. Yeah, it looks a lot better on camera. But it is obviously Patrick Bateman from American Psycho holding the Huey Lewis in the News album. However, if you are aware of the existence of this experimental hip-hop group, you'll recognize that album cover, and that is the album cover to The Money Store by Death Grips, which is a really great underground kind of experimental hip-hop album. Really, really good stuff. Love Death Grips. Had to get this dumb American Psycho meme t-shirt in order to show my appreciation to the band. And yeah, the last one I got, this one is one that, you'll probably see me wearing in a couple of videos. Is a t-shirt of the poster artwork for Bloodthirsty Butchers, directed by Andy Milligan. Bloodthirsty Butchers was my first Andy Milligan film, and I hated it when I first saw it. Now that the new set is out from Severin, this new restoration, as well as the ability to watch it with subtitles, has made the film one of my favorite Milligan films, because I can actually tell what's going on when I watch it now. But yeah, Bloodthirsty Butchers is basically Milligan's take on Sweeney Todd without the music, without the fucking show tunes. But I really like the poster artwork for this one. I was looking around trying to find Milligan t-shirts. Believe it or not, Andy Milligan t-shirts, not a big market. So there aren't too many that exist. I would have loved to seen one for Fleshpot and 42nd Street, or Carnage, or even Seeds, or the Ghastly ones, or Monstrosity even. But I'll go with Bloodthirsty Butchers. It's it's not a big deal. But yeah, on to the last few things I purchased. I got a couple Blu-rays and DVD that I got for super cheap, and I also have a special little poster here that is like a very interesting piece of cult film memorabilia, and very happy to have it. And I will be hanging this. I will be putting this in a frame eventually. I'll take the cardboard backing piece out of the slip, so that way I don't have to take the actual poster out of the slip to show it to you. But I'm going to set that to the side for now. I guess I'll start with the DVD. The one DVD I bought, which this was super, super cheap, it is Attack of the Giant Blurry Finger, which this is a release from like this year. This one was shot last year during the pandemic. And as far as I know, this is like a movie basically made by one guy in his apartment with, I'm assuming, somebody who he either knows, who is his girlfriend, or something like that. I haven't seen this yet. I've heard about it, and I've heard very mixed things. But I also heard from my friend Andrew, from the old Wizards of Gore streams. He's the one who told me about this, and he said I should check it out. And I was gonna just like find it online on streaming, but then I saw it for like, it was like $4, and I'm like, that's a new 2021 release for $4. That's got to be something. But the plot of this movie, which I think is really interesting, is the fact that it's basically like a science fiction horror comedy, but the source of the horror is the fact that the guy handling the camera has his finger like in front of the lens, so it's blurry and obscuring the image, and that's the source of horror, is this blurry finger of this giant blurry finger that to the viewer is like, it is like, oh yeah, this is just a fuck up on the camera guy's part, but to the characters, no, this is a giant blurry finger that is just in the apartment, and the camera just happens to be placed behind the action, behind the point of terror. Again, I haven't seen this yet, but it sounds kind of dumb. Sounds like something somebody knocked out in probably 2 days during the pandemic, when they were under lockdown. As you can see, there's nothing on the back. There's a number of quotes from critics, and yeah, this is just a kind of a dumb little movie that I heard about that I figured I would buy. Speaking of dumb little movies, we got Paranormal Extremes Text Messages from the Dead on Blu-ray. This one, how am I going to justify owning this? So, here's the thing. I want you to look at that artwork and tell me that that does not look cheap as fuck. The back, also cheap as fuck. This is basically a film that was made in like 2014, 2015, and it's just essentially a paranormal supernatural horror film. I have not seen this since like 2016 or 2017, I think. It's been a very long time. But I did review this one for my channel years back, and I'll put the link to that review in the description. I forget what I said about it, but I know I gave it a good review, just on the basis that like it's an extremely extremely charming film, despite it being trash. This movie is directed by Ted V. Michaels, who most famously directed, The Corpse Grinders, 10 Violent Women, Angel of Vengeance, Female Slave's Revenge, One Shocking Moment, The Black Klansman, Astro Zombies. Astro Zombies kicks ass, and the sequels are also pretty fun too. But this was, and also, Demon Haunt. Demon Haunt is fucking amazing. I also reviewed that one a long time ago. But, been meaning to rewatch this one. Saw the Blu-ray for like $6. I figured, why not? This could be a good time. Ted V. Michaels was a very interesting director. One of my favorite directors, honestly. The dude had some shit going on. The other Blu-ray, which I got this for like $5, I'm genuinely surprised I found this for $5 because, like, last I checked, and not that it was going for crazy high prices or anything, but last that I had checked on it, it wasn't even on Blu-ray in the States. But I guess it is. I'm talking about the Scarlett Johansson film Under the Skin. Going straight from Paranormal Extremes, text messages from the dead, to Under the Skin. That pretty much solidifies what my channel is. Under the Skin, if you haven't seen it, this is like a movie that's pretty well known, I think, amongst the art film community, amongst the horror community, amongst film people who are into movies in general. I feel like this is pretty well known, but this is an A24 released film that is based on a novel, which I have not read yet. I plan on reading it eventually. But it's basically about a alien that takes the form of a woman and feeds on men by basically seducing them into this kind of metaphysical world. It's a hard movie to explain, and it's definitely an art film. It's very slow, not a lot of action, but the music is horrifying. Like the soundtrack to this and the soundtrack to The Witch are neck and neck. And honestly, in terms of being a genuinely like frightening and unsettling film, this is right up there with The Witch, in my opinion, because this movie is really uncomfortable, just really creepy. I really like this one though. Genuinely really like this one. It's not for everybody, but I really do like it. And Scarlett Johansson is amazing, absolutely amazing in this film. And how the film was made is also really interesting. If you want to read up on that, you can. I'm not going to take the time to explain it. But as is the new tradition for, I don't know why I did that, for my Blu-ray DVD collection update videos, I'm going to give away the digital copy of Under the Skin. So whoever wants it, you can try to grab it, because there's no guarantee that, like, there's no guarantee that like the first 100 people to watch this are going to take this, but somebody may very well. It doesn't matter either way, but I'm going to give the code away, which is right there. I hope that is in focus. From the looks of it, it is. Just give you a couple seconds to grab that, and there it is. It's gone forever. Whoever got it now owns the digital copy of one of the best science fiction films of the last few decades, and that is fantastic. I would throw these pieces in the air, but then I'd have to pick them up after filming, and I don't want to do that. I'm fucking lazy, so they're just gonna go in the box that I'm gonna toss. As for the last thing I purchased, this is a very interesting piece of memorabilia. But it is a promo poster / flyer promoting the Japanese VHS release of the kaiju film Pulgasari, which it's like literally an 8x10 little mini poster. It's double-sided. As far as I know, this is not a reproduction. As far as I know, this is legit an original version. An original one from 1998, as the back says. I can't confirm it. All I know is that the guy I bought it off of online says it's not a reproduction, said it was legitimate, and the price seemed right for something, that's like this size and with this niche of an appeal. So, I bought it, It's a very cool little piece of memorabilia. I'll have to get a frame for it eventually, because keeping it in this little like plastic comic book sleeve with the cardboard backing is good. It's good for storing it in the meantime, because I expected it to show up like rolled up in a tube or folded up or something. Um, but it arrived like this, which is great because that's a great way to store it in the meantime before I, go get a frame. But yeah, Pulgasari. For those of you who don't know, a little rundown about Pulgasari. This is a North Korean kaiju film. This movie was made basically. Okay, so I'm gonna try and explain this like as quickly as possible. Um, so Kim Jong Il was a huge fan of movies. His favorite movies consisted of like Godzilla, Friday the 13th, and like First Blood, which is really fucking weird. And he wanted to make his own kaiju movie for like North Korean audiences. So what he did was he contacted a director in South Korea and said, "Hey, we're gonna fly you out to China if you want to work on this, direct this movie for us. We'll pay you. We're shooting this movie in China," and they bought him a ticket to China and then met him there and kidnapped him and took him to North Korea, where he was held there for a few years with his wife, and he was forced to make movies for Kim Jong. And the last movie he made was Pulgasari. As far as I know, the other movies he made aren't like available to the public. Pulgasari is like readily available, although like every release of it is kind of low quality. It doesn't have like a nice Blu-ray release or anything yet, which is kind of understandable because there's kind of rights issues with it and everything. It's a North Korean film, which I'm sure nobody wants to be connected to that and release it. But like legitimately, Pulgasari is actually a pretty good kaiju movie. And eventually the director escaped when he suggested, I think either him or Kim Jong suggested that they take this film on tour to other countries to show it off. And in Prague, I believe, the director and his wife managed to get away from the bodyguards that were hired to keep an eye on them, and they got to the American embassy and managed to escape, which is very, very good. However, we have this film as a result, and I think that even though this film came out of something that is like a genuinely heinous tragedy, I think we should take a moment to appreciate it, because a lot of effort did go into it. In fact, when it came to doing the effects and the miniatures, they actually legitimately were like, hey, did the same bit, but to Toho. As in the literal creators of Godzilla. The company behind Godzilla contacted them and said, hey, we're making a kaiju film in China. Would you like to come work on it? And basically did the same bit, except they flew them to North Korea and told them it was China. So the guy in the Pulgasari costume is literally the 80s Heisei era Godzilla. It's the same actor. And all the miniatures were made by the effects people at Toho, and after they were done working on the film, they got to leave, and because they were convinced that they were working in China. But yeah, Pulgasari is actually an interesting movie. It's a genuine spectacle, and I think that to just dislike the film because it's communist propaganda, or because it is, or because it came from the mind of somebody who is, not a great person. It came from, it came out of a case of literal kidnapping. I don't think that minimizes the fact that it's a very interesting movie and that there was a lot of genuine effort put into it. So I, for one, personally really like Pulgasari, and I think it's a pretty cool kaiju movie. And I'm happy to own this little piece of memorabilia of it. But that's it. That's the last of my stuff that I have gathered recently. Um, so yeah, that's it for now. Also, I got my computer fixed finally. I did not have to take it to a shop or anything. Just it just wanted to work for me the other day, so it just started working again for me. I don't fucking know, man. So there will be a normal video coming down the pipes hopefully soon. I know I've been slacking with the uploads recently. Not that everybody, not that anybody has really you know taken the time to complain or anything. I just want to say that there will be a normal video coming hopefully soon, a review or something like that, and it'll be an interesting one to say the least, or I hope it will be. I don't know what to say. Either way, that's it for now, guys. This is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews signing off. Peace.